I literally, if you can't hear me, I'm sorry, but I literally am freezing. And then guess what I realized? I hadn't even turned my heat on in my apartment. Insane. Anyway, hello. Happy November 1st, which is just so weird to say because it seems like I just said, hi, Happy New Year. It's 2025. Like now we have 60 days of this year remaining. Can't even. Anyway, I got my nails done yesterday. Look, she's giving Galinda. She's giving Elfie. I can't. I will be insufferable until these nails pop out of my hands. I will be insufferable. Anyway, let's talk about how many books did I read this month? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's talk about the 12 books that I read in the month of October. I actually, it's so strange to like do reading recaps because I always like get to the end of the month and I'm like, I read like 2 books. And I realized, actually, no, I read more than that. And that's just because like the past couple months I started school. And school has been absolutely destroying me. I don't have time to breathe, it feels like. I literally am just like, I wake up, I have homework. I finish that homework, I submitted, I go to work, I come back and I have another assignment. Like, it just feels like I have not been able to like breathe, which is fine. Like I was expecting that, but I wasn't expecting to be this busy. Oh my goodness. I was not expecting to be like never have a moment to sit and relax. So it is Saturday, November 1st. I got my nails done yesterday. I actually had a second to like go to Chipotle and get a $6 burrito and like get my nails done and just like be home. But I literally was just doing homework just now. And then I'm like, you know what? Let's do a reading recap before 2 weeks go by. Anyway, that was a very long intro. Hello, welcome back. I didn't really have a TBR for the month of October, and that's because I didn't have the time to even do it. I ended up September finishing The Spark of the Everflame, Heat of the Everflame, Glow of the Everflame, those 3 books, which were fantastic. And then yesterday or the day before, I did my Yes, No, Maybe for quarter 3 a month late. So that video, like shorts, whatever, is up. Anyway, moral of the story is I started out the month of October with Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I remember the second I finished this book, I wanted to pick up the next one. Like this book ended in such a big cliffhanger and like jaw-dropping moment that I literally wanted to pick up the next one. So what is Legendborn about? First of all, thank you, Segal, for recommending this book to me. And I'm sorry it took me 2 years before I got to it because this book was amazing. This book was fantastic. This book follows Bree. She is in, I forget if it's a high school or, a residential program for bright high schoolers. So Bree's mother dies in an accident and she decides to kind of follow in her mom's footsteps and go to the school her mom went to at UNC Chapel Hill and this like program for really smart high schoolers. So she gets into this program and somehow stumbles into this group of people called the Legendborn. And the Legendborn are kind of these like, it's hard to describe, but they kind of are descendants, or at least the person who is up to be king is like the descendant of King Arthur. And I'm still confused about the magic, but I remember just like I was like, that's very interesting. That is a very interesting take on the like legend of King Arthur and like the knights at the round table and Excalibur and blah blah blah. But she gets in, so she's going to this school or this program. She gets herself recruited into the Legendborn with the help of Nick. Yeah. With the help of Nick, and I'm gonna leave Nick at that because there's more to Nick, obviously. But she gets herself recruited into the Legendborn Society because she's trying to figure out what happened to her mom because she doesn't believe it was an accident. And then shit just starts happening like pretty much right away. She got like the first night of her initiation or whatever. And yeah, like you can see the cover of the book. It is fantastic. And I cannot wait to read Bloodmark because I am so excited to see where the story goes. Like I said, the end of book 1 left my jaw on the floor and I wanted to continue the series right away, but I had to go to work. So I couldn't. But this book was a 5 out of 5. Absolutely amazing. I am obsessed with the writing in this. It's a young adult book, so like no spice, but very, very good. Like super, super fast paced. Took me like 2 days to read this book, so it was really good. Next up, I read Pucking Wild, which is book 2 in that Pucking Around Jacksonville Rays series. This book was also quite spicy, less spicy than book 1, but very spicy. And I had started reading this book in September and I finished it in October, but I was listening to the audiobook, so it took me quite a bit of time to get through it. But I kind of like the mystery aspect of this book because you get to follow like her ex manipulating her and like trying to like hurt her and the people that she cares about, and there's more to the story, of course. And then she's like protected by her man and the Price boys, so we got some nods to book 1. And it's just, this book was I think better than book 1, but also just like different than book 1, you know? So I enjoyed my time while I was reading it. So yeah. So next up in October, I read Imagine Me by Tahira Mafi. This is the final book in the Shatter Me original series. And this was actually my least favorite book of the entire series, but it was still very entertaining. I loved the end of this book. I did feel like it was actually a little bit rushed. Like half the book was one thing and then all of a sudden like the end kind of happened. But I will say like this book was still very good. I gave it 5 stars because I've given every single book in this entire series 5 stars. And you know what? I stand by that. The Shatter Me reading vlog is up on my channel, but after getting to the end of this series, I genuinely was like, okay, like thinking back to when I was younger and I was reading this series for the first time. I don't know if I actually read this particular book the first time around because it felt a little bit new to me. Like it felt a little bit like new information. But then again, I don't remember. I literally didn't remember anything that happened in the rest of the series. So who knows if I actually had read this back then. But I feel like this came out, yeah. Like I feel like this came out in 2020. So like I probably didn't. Anyway, the moral of the story is I enjoyed the entire series as a whole. Like Shatter Me is still my favorite series. Like after reading some really, really good books and some really, really good series this year, Shatter Me is still my favorite series of all time, I would say. And I'm so obsessed. I'm so glad that I read it. And I also read Watch Me, which is the new one. And we'll talk about that later. But this was really good. I'm not going to say anything about it because you need to read starting with book 1. But the whole series follows Juliette Ferrars. She is a very powerful, her touch is lethal. She will kill you if she touches you. So the series starts with her being locked up in prison and she is being held captive by the Reestablishment. And the Reestablishment is this like force or group of people who kind of took over their world and just like they took over the world. Life as they knew it is gone. People are getting hunted if they've got magical powers, things like that. So the book is very, very, very good. Very dystopian, very like fantastic. Absolutely love it. Young adult, but so good. I think anybody of any age can read this and enjoy it. So really, really good. Read the entire series. It's so worth it. I promise. It's so worth it. But yeah, this was my least favorite in the series, but it was still a 5 out of 5. So you can tell it's very good. I am like nursing a headache that literally is not going away and I feel so nauseous and I don't understand why. Like I don't understand why the headache is not going away, you know? Anyway, next up in October, I read Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. I don't understand why it took me so long to finally read this book. Also, it feels like it's very bright because it's super gloomy today. So I have my lamp on in front of me and yeah. Anyway, Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. This is book 3 in that interconnected standalone series, Skyland. And oh my goodness. Maverick and Kendricks, I have followed them through Before I Let Go and This Could Be Us, and I loved their story. I love a man who yearns for his woman. And that was Maverick. I just like the end of the book was so cute. Like I love a good billionaire romance where the billionaire is just so sweet and will do anything in his power to take care of his woman, his family, his friends. You know what I mean? Just like so sweet, so down to earth. Like, I love this book. There was so much going on in this book, like the Alzheimer's representation. Like they were traveling back and forth. Like she was traveling back and forth to like take care of her mom and just like a book with strong female Black characters. I'm obsessed. This book was a 5 out of 5, if you can't tell. Like I loved it. It was so good. I loved it. Yeah. Loved it. Next up, like I mentioned, I read, The Glare. Damn. Okay. Well, I read Watch Me by Tahira Mafi. This is the first book in the like kind of spin-off series. It's called Shatter Me, The New Republic, I believe. Yeah, Shatter Me, The New Republic. But the moral of the story is this book follows James, who is the little brother in the original Shatter Me series. And this is 10 years later after the reestablishment. And I will not say more because I don't want to give any hints as to what happened. But this book ended on a fucking cliffhanger. I was so annoyed because book 2's not out yet. I'm so pissed. Like I finished this and I was like, oh, what? That's the end? And I wanted to continue. Anyway, so this book follows James and Rosalind? What's her name? Oh my goodness, what is her name? There's a lot of James chapters, but no Rosalind chapters. I think it's Rosalind. Rosabelle. Anyway, so this book follows James, who is the brother of, in the original series. And then Rosabelle, who is, from what I'm gathering, a spy. And she's trying to gather information from James and his crew in order to reestablish the reestablishment, if you would. And I'm going to leave it at that because there's a lot more that happened in this book. But I loved the nods to our original characters, Kenji, Juliet, Warner. You know what I mean? I loved seeing them older, and that was amazing. But like this book, I again ended on a fucking cliffhanger, and I am annoyed because the next book isn't out and I cannot wait. The second it's out, I'm gonna get it and read it. Yeah. Next up, I read Neon Gods by Katie Roberts. I have had this book like on my physical TBR for so long that I low-key forgot about it. And when I was like, I finished reading Watch Me and the Shatter Me series, and I was like, I need something that's just not young adult. I need something that's like the opposite of that. So I picked up a Hades and Persephone retelling. I think. And it's a little bit darker, but this book follows Persephone and Hades. So Persephone's mom just announces that she will be marrying Zeus, and she obviously does not want to marry Zeus. So she runs away from her like engagement night or whatever. She ends up in the territory of Hades, and there are these rules that if someone, is seeking safety in the different territories, they can't be hunted in that territory. So now she is in his territory and Mr. Hades comes along and is like gets her and takes her to his house and is like, okay, you're under my protection now. And she's like, you're not real, you're just a bedtime story that people tell to scare other people. And he's like, bitch, do I look like I'm imaginary? Like I'm right here. Anyway, so then they form an alliance, if you would. And yeah, so she decides, and I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but she decides because she does not want to marry Zeus, she's going to irreversibly be tainted goods. Does that make any sense without saying any more with Hades? Anyway, I actually really enjoyed this book. Like, I really like dark retellings is what I'm gathering. Like, I read Hooked a few months back, and like I enjoyed that book because it was like, well, obviously the original story, but now it's like darker from the villain's point of view, or just like darker and more adult. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 3.5 stars because I was like, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. Next up, I listened to a love song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. I honestly do not remember much else that happened in this book, but I remember at the end of it, I was like, oh my goodness, that was so magical and beautiful. I gave it 5 stars. So far, I have given every Tia Williams book, well, the 2 Tia Williams books that I've read, 5 stars. Like, they've been fantastic. 7 Days in June was fantastic. A love song for Ricky Wilde was fantastic and magical, like I said. So yeah, loved it. Next up, and I will talk about both of them together because I read them kind of back to back, but I listened to The Betrothed by Kiera Cass as well as The Betrayed by Kiera Cass. So this series follows Hollis, and Hollis at the start of book 1 is not quite betrothed, even though the title of the book is The Betrothed, but she is, going out or going on dates with the king of Karoa. King Jameson, he is taking her out on dates, and he's kind of like, well, you're like, we're gonna get married essentially. Like, we're not officially betrothed, but like, we're basically betrothed. And that's how the story starts. And as Hollis is kind of like figuring out like who she is as a person, but also like if she actually wants to be married to the king, if she wants to become the queen and things like that, there's other things happening in the kingdom. And the betrothed ends with Hollis running away from the king. And I'm going to leave it at that because the next book is The Betrayed, and you can imagine what happens in that next book. But I was pleasantly surprised. I have obviously loved Kiera Cass's books in the past, like The Selection. I loved that when I was younger. I read The Siren. I think I read a couple other of her books when I was younger, and I absolutely love them. And like, I am in this like weird space where I am in school, so things are very busy. I'm going to set this down because the glare is really, really annoying me. But like, things are very busy, so I've been looking for like quick reads. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I genuinely am like, when I pick up a book or an audiobook, I want to like fly through it in a day or less. You know, I'm like, I love a good, really, really, really long book. And I have a few of them that I do want to read, or like long series. And I have a few of them that I want to read like before the year ends, or like in December when I have a break from school. But I just like, I've been in this weird like funk almost, where I'm just like, if I'm not picking up a very, very quick book, like, then I don't want it. You know? Anyway, this video is getting like unnecessarily long. I enjoyed The Betrothed. I enjoyed The Betrayed. They were both 4-star reads for me. They were really good. Just a YA story that's super fast paced, and like, they were really good. Reminded me kind of like The Selection, not in terms of theme, but in terms of like just being really, really, really fast paced. But moving on. Next up, I listened to Pucking Ever After Volume 2. It's the novella after Pucking Wild, but it follows the original like characters. So Rachel Price and her Price men. I actually give this one a 4.5 stars. Why? Because I was obsessed with the well, I guess I shouldn't say, but I will tell you a couple quotes that had me giggling, kicking my feet up, and I just like, anyway, but a character says, "Mars, kiss me back before I lose my fucking mind." I remember, and I was just like, like, come on, it's so cute. It was so cute. Like, I said, I also just love when people can't decide who's big or little spoon, and they argue about it because it's just so cute. And it's like, I'm like, I was listening to that and I was just like giggling, kicking my feet, because I was like, oh my god, it's so cute. Anyway, this novella, low-key, like, in my yes, no, maybe, it's like no to book 1, probably a no to book 2, but like yes to the novella. And that is how I want to live my life. Anyway, so like I said, I needed like fast paced, and Pucking Around Volume 2 was it for me. I loved it. And I'm actually so excited for Pucking Around Book 3 now. I think it's Pucking Sweet. Doesn't matter. I'm actually really excited for it now. Anyway, moving on. I read Chase Me by Tessa Bailey. And again, because I wanted something extremely short. This book was 275 pages-ish. And yeah, it was cute. It was okay. I gave it 4 stars. Let me tell you what the book is about, shall we? So this book follows Roxy, and she is an actress, or I guess I should say an aspiring actress, and she just got kicked out of her apartment by her roommate because she couldn't pay the bills. So in order to make some quick cash, she decides to sign up to be what is it, like, I forget exactly what it is, but she basically is like a bunny. Which is just weird. But she shows up to this dude's door, Mr. Lewis. She shows up to his door in a bunny outfit and like stuns Lewis, because he's like, first of all, why are you here? I didn't order you. And like, oh my goodness, like, I'm obsessed. That first encounter, it went the way it went. And then because she still needed money, and she needed money because she just found a really good apartment and she needed to be able to pay rent, she signs up to be a stripper. And I don't know if this is a spoiler, but guess who is at the party that she goes to strip for the bachelor, Mr. Lewis, again. So in her head, she's like, did you hire me again? Like, what is going on? Anyway, I thought this book was really cute. Like, it was super fast. It flew by. The end, I was like, oh, sweet. But yeah, I thought it was really cute. I thought it was just like, you know, the books that are just like funny and you're just like this is so ridiculous. It could never happen. But of course, it's happening in a book. Yeah, that's Tessa Bailey for you. And you guys know Tessa Bailey is a hit or a miss, you know, for a lot of people. Her books to me are just entertainment. I do not go into them with super high expectations because I'm not expecting, you know, like literary fantasticness. You know, I'm expecting a good time and that's what I get. So Chase Me by Tessa Bailey, 4 out of 5, great book. And then last but not least, because I also wanted a very quick read or a very quick listen, I listened to Beautiful Bitch by Christina Lauren. This is like the novella right after the Beautiful Bastard book, which I read, I think in 2024 at this point. But I literally didn't remember what the first book was about. And when I picked this up, I was like, oh, that's right. Because this novella was just spice. It was pure spice. That was it. It was here for the vibes and I was here for the vibes. Anyway. It was very entertaining. I did, like, as the story went on, I was remembering Bennett and I was remembering, I forget the lady's name, but like, I was like, oh, that's right, because they were the main characters from the first book. But the book was just for fun. I gave it 3 stars because that was literally nothing happened. But yeah, anyway, those are the books that I read in October. I am still reading this book. I have been slowly reading this book all month of October. And I literally have like maybe 40 pages to go. And I don't like, this is another book that is genuinely just, you're just reading it for the vibes. You're not actually reading it for a plot. And yeah, so my November recap, hopefully I will have this done, but it's just so funny. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I still have a headache, but I'm going to end the video here because, you know, that's it. Those are the books that I read in the month of October. I had a great month. Like, I started out with some really, really strong books, like 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, like some really, really good books. And yeah, I had a great time this month. Again, like the videos are going to be scarce because I am in school full time and it's been kicking my butt, like I've said, like 8 times so far. But yeah, I am so glad you joined me today as we talked about the books that I read in October, and I am so excited to pick out some books to read in November, and I am so excited for the holidays when I will have a break from school, and I will be doing Bookmas in December, so I'm also really excited for that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.